Hello and welcome back. In this third tutorial I will be adding the Giga rock, which is the rock that the ship wants to collect, and I will also introduce the score variable, which I will be using to keep track of the score, the points that the user is gaining whilst collecting these Giga rocks. To create the Giga rock, I'm going to copy the rock. This sprite is actually very similar to the rock. The only difference is that when the rock hits the ship is turned to dust, whilst when the Giga rock hits the ship, we want to actually award the player with some points. I'm going to rename this new copy from sprite1 to Giga rock, and I'll have to change the look of this rock so that the player can distinguish between this rock and the meteor. To do that, I'll just change the color of the rock. I'm using green here. I'm going to apply this to all the sub-images of this rock. Once I do this, I also need to change the logic of the game, because right now the Giga rock is simply a copy of the asteroid. So if it hits the ship, it will just turn it to dust. Okay, I'm done with changing the sub-images. So I'll now go to the scripts, and right now it's set so that if it is touching the ship, it's going to change the level and broadcast endgame. All this must go, and it's at this point that I must introduce the score variable. So I'm just deleting all that, and I'm switching to the score variable. I'm going to click on make a variable. I'm going to call it score. I'm going to the stage, and similar to what I had with the level, I added a new entry, set score to 0. This will mean that when we start the game, the initial value of the score will be set to 0. I want to hide the score when I'm showing the instructions screen. So again, I'm going to use the hide block, and I'm going to change score so the score is hidden. But then as soon as I'm starting the game, I'm going to show the score. So same as before, I'm choosing the show variable, but I'll use the score one. So now I can actually play this. Score is not showing. Level and score are on top of each other, so I'm going to move one of them. I'll just move the level to here. Okay, and as you can see, as soon as the rock hits the ship, the game ends. Now, going back to the Giga rock, right now if the Giga rock hits the ship, nothing happens. What I want to do is I want to add points to the score. So I'm using the block change, and I'm going to change the score by 10 whenever the Giga rock hits the ship. So that would mean that the ship is actually collecting the Giga rock. So I'll start it all over again, and this time I'll try it out. If I hit the green rock, the score is actually going up, but the score is acting a bit funny. It's not going up in tens, but it's going up much more. Reason for this is that when the Giga rock hits the cannon, it keeps hitting it until the image goes to the end of the screen. So what I'm going to do is that as soon as I change the score, I'm going to change the location of the Giga rock, and I'm going to do that by using the go to XY. This will be similar to what I did earlier, so I'll use the go to XY 220, which is the end outside on the left hand side of the screen, and I'll use a random so that the Y location is randomized. So it will be from -136 to 140. Also, to make the Giga rock a bit harder for the player to get, I'm going to make it a bit smaller than the usual rock. And now I can actually try the game out again. Okay, there you go. We're actually getting just 10 points when we hit the Giga rock. But if I do hit the meteoroid, then the game comes to an end.